Guess who's back? Back again. Nick is back. Seriously though, tell a friend. Hello everybody, welcome to the Practical Entrepreneur Show. This is episode number 23. I'm not a Michael Jordan fan, but I respect the guy. So the guests are Gladys and Luis from Molcajete Dominguero. Now these two have been putting on these pop-up shops all around Southern California, supporting local Latino vendors in Los Angeles, California, and they now have a brick and mortar. They're going to go into a little bit of detail as far as how they kind of got started, what their goals are, and of course, what are their favorite tacos and telenovelas. Hope you enjoy the show.
All right, perfect. Well, my name is Luis Octavio, and I am one of the co-founders of Molcajete Dominguero. And sorry, go ahead.
My name is Gladys Vasquez, and I'm also one of the co-founders of Molcajete Dominguero. We met at a Day of the Dead event at La Placita Olvera.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. And Luis just, we started talking. Tell him what happened.
We started talking. I mean, listen, before any of the Molcajete Dominguero thing ever happened, Gladys and I were both vendors. Gladys has amazing products, and I started dabbing into being a vendor. And so we met at Placita Olvera, like she was saying. And then there I realized that there are a lot of amazing vendors that have amazing products, one-of-a-kind products, really out-of-the-box products. And so I asked Gladys, that was like my second event that I was vending at. And at the time I was selling embroidered trucker hats. And so I asked her, Oye, is there other events like this that are not necessarily tied to Dia de los Muertos? And she said there are. There's art walks, there's
a Cinco de Mayo events, but not really anything that happened constantly, like every month. So we pretty much had to wait for the big events to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Got it.
And then at that point, I was like, well, why isn't there a monthly or something other than just Dia de los Muertos or Cinco de Mayo? Being that, especially here in Los Angeles, there's a ton of us, right? There's a huge Latino community. And so I had just come back from a trip in Seattle where there was a pop-up market, and obviously it was gringos, and it was beautifully put together, and it had like a logo, and it was really well presented. And so I told Gladys, oye, deberíamos de hacer uno. We should do our own. And she's like, sí, ¿verdad? Y así quedó. And that was that. And then
I just started looking into it, just doing a little bit more research, looking at venues, looking at how we can start this, and bugging him while he was working. And he wasn't prepared for me to respond the way I did, but I really wanted to do that because myself, being a vendor almost for a year and having to wait for the good events, I was like, no, this has to happen. So then I just told him all these venues and places.
So I think that the combination of, this idea, putting this idea in her head, and then her having more experience vending, the combination of that was almost like the perfect recipe. She knew already, and as she mentioned right now, she had to wait for the quote-unquote good events, right? And so that was my thing. Why do we have to wait for these quote-unquote good events, right? It should be a good event every month or every week or whatever the case may be. So she sent me many DMs, and I was like, man, I have no time. I'm traveling all over the country for my job right now, and I just have no time. And then she researched everything as she mentioned, and I was like, okay, this is somebody that can carry her own weight. Me va a dejar a mí el muertito, at the end. So I was
Which is important because
yes.
if your partner is not in with you 100%. It's you're pulling someone else's weight and you feel like I'm by myself.
Exactly.
That's awesome.
Exactly. So then I was like, okay, let's do it. And that's how the event began. So our event began on April 2016, right? 2016. And our first event, we had 35 vendors, and we had about 500 people show up. And every single vendor asked us, where can we pick up flyers to promote the event? And that to me was a concept that was like, flyers? Posters.
Like, who uses it? No.
Like, I mean, this is like
That's old school marketing.
yeah, this is like 2016, right? Like, there's digital platforms and there's ways of contacting people within, you know, your certain area by using social media. So, so we said no, we're not doing that, and also mainly because we didn't have the budget for that. Like, we didn't have the budget to print flyers and to print posters, and furthermore, we didn't have the manpower to go to like businesses and be like, can I put my poster up? Right.
Because at that time we both had full-time jobs, and we didn't have really the time at all
Right.
to do any of this.
So we're like, no. And then it took us, I think, about 2 months before we actually decided, okay, we're going to be able to do it on this date, because we were trying to get the name down. We were working on the name. We were working on a tagline. We were working on the logo. And I had told Gladys, like, we need to treat this as a brand from the very beginning so that people can get excited about this. It's not just another event, right? It's actually like an event that people would want to go to. And then the other thing that was super important to us, even though we're both from Mexico, was to never call Molcajete Dominguero something, etc., Mexican. Like, that was from the get-go. That was the most important thing, because we wanted to make sure that all Latinos felt welcome at Molcajete Dominguero, whether they're from El Salvador, Guatemala, wherever they would be from. The idea was that they all felt welcome at Molcajete Dominguero. So when choosing a name, we came up with, like, I can't even remember how many names we came up with, like a ton.
Yeah, a lot of them.
A lot of them, and a lot of them, like, you know, do you remember some of them?
El Mercado, we were doing El Tianguis or
Kiosco.
Yeah, like a different variety of things.
Kermes. But then these names that we were coming up with all kind of kept going back to what Gladys and I know, which is our Mexicanidad, right? So we're like, we can't call it Tianguis because I don't know that in all of like Latin America it's the same meaning, or Kermes, or this or that. And we didn't want to call it Mercado either, because that was the name of my brand. And then that was another thing that we said. Even though we're both vendors, we're going to get in line just as well, like just the same as all of the other vendors. And we're never going to promote our businesses more than we would anybody else. We're going to get in line. And so I said, well, I like the name Mercado, but it's too close to the name of my business. And I don't want people to think that, like, oh, we're now going to promote this guy's business, you know? And so we didn't want that. And then we thought about several different names, and finally we came up with Molcajete. And the reason why we came up with Molcajete is because we felt that this was something that across all Latin America, people knew what a molcajete was. You know, people knew what it was. It wasn't like, what is that? Like, it was an item that
relates to all Latinos.
Yeah, that could relate to all Latinos, and that many have in their home. So then I asked my friends who are from El Salvador, from Guatemala, I'm like, hey, oye, do you know what a molcajete is? And and they were like, yes, I do. Or you know, they would be like, yes, but this is what we call it. But I'm like, but the image, you recognize the image. And they're like, see? So we decided to call it molcajete. And then I think at the very beginning, I wanted to call it mall, like a mall.
Okay.
Molcajete. And, you know, I wanted to have a play on words, and then Gladys was like, I don't like that.
I didn't like it.
And I think that was our first, like, not obviously major fallout or anything, but it was like our first, like, disagreement. And
you guys are starting to get history now.
Yeah. And I think that at that point, I really loved the way she handled that, because she was like, I don't like it, but what if we leave it up to the vendors to vote as well? And I was like, oh, I like that. I like that she's really thinking about the vendors as well, you know? So we're like, yeah, let's do it. And then, pues obviamente no se quedó Molcajete. But Molcajete Dominguero stayed. And now we have a monthly event here in Los Angeles that has over 150 vendors. And we get about 6,000 to 8,000 people showing up. And again, since the very beginning, we've never...
created a flyer
or anything like that. It's all been through social media, and it's all been very organic, word of mouth. And we now have an event in San Francisco, which happens once a month as well. And right now, where we're sitting at our first brick and mortar, which we just opened up in February. We did a soft launch. we're going to do a grand opening on March 3rd, which is this coming Sunday, and we're excited because already we're getting emails of people asking if we would franchise the store.
Wow.
Yeah.
So we're really excited.
Yeah.
Very, very excited. Question for Gladys first. So you mentioned that both of you were working. So what's your background before you started up the store
Well,
or the events?
I have been I'm in accounting, so now I'm not working, but last month was my last month working. No, last month? 2 months ago, I think.
Oh.
So I've been doing that for a couple years, and I decided to just stop because my focus was really, I was too distracted in reality. And I just had to, I felt that Luis, because he's now, full-time as well here, I felt that I had to join him and make this stronger as much as we can. But mainly because my focus was just not as 100%. So I said, okay, that's it. I'm doing Molcajete because that's what I like. That's my passion. And that's what I'm doing.
Very cool. So you must be really good with the numbers.
I'm good with the numbers, yes, and understanding them.
Now, as far as your background, Luis, let me take a guess. I kind of have a feeling that you did some sort of marketing and branding experience because I'm looking at your social media profiles and they're pretty established and have a decent audience, and the way they're laid out. Am I right or am I wrong?
No, you're right. You're right. So my background is in experiential marketing, and I've been doing that for about, actually, le acabo de echar la cuenta, and it's been more than 20 years. I can't believe that I've been doing this for more than 20 years. Experiential marketing, for those that don't know, is basically I put together marketing campaigns for brands that want to either have consumers try their product or experience their product, and then that is where I come in making sure that it's an experience that consumers will leave with a positive experience, right, of the brand's product, services, whatever the case may be. So that is my background, and prior to Molcajete Dominguero, I was the experiential marketing director for a company that is like a global company and managing big time brands. And finally, when this opportunity came about, I said, you know what, I can use everything that I know and really help elevate our community, right? And that's what we did, and that's what we're doing, and that is the message that we're pushing across to all of our vendors. As a matter of fact, I've been thinking about this. You don't know about this. This is a primicia. but our tagline is "We're vendors growing together," and that's how we started, right? We started as vendors, and now I'm thinking we're more than vendors. We're a lot more. Like, our vendors have become brands. So I think, I don't know, maybe it's time to rethink that, because really all of these amazing businesses, they are brands. They're developing these brands that are now being well known, that are becoming social media influencers themselves. So it's a brand, right? Many of these businesses are selling a lifestyle. So anyway, so that's what we're working on right now.
Now, it sounds like, I was introduced to you guys through Échale Ganas. I don't know if you guys heard of his brand.
Of course.
Yeah.
Yes, of course we've heard of Échale Ganas.
So we're in the same fraternity.
Okay.
So my first...
Oh, you got vendors to send you questions for us? Oh my god, that's scary. Ahmed, you have to tell us which vendors, but let's see if they're gonna come back or not. I'm just kidding.
So that's how I heard you guys. So it kind of feels like you guys came, at least from me not knowing your background, and now I'm kind of having an idea. You guys kind of came out of nowhere. So
Definitely.
I have a question from Yesenia Tienditas.
Yes,
Okay.
Tienditas.
And let's see what she said. Oh, what sparked the interest in starting the whole Molcajete movement?
Well, that was pretty much just knowing that there wasn't anything out there and that we needed to really make more noise. It was just a little bit, not every month, like we wouldn't have anything big every month. And our focus was really to make noise and to expose all these amazing vendors And that's what really sparked all this and made it like even more something that we really wanted to do like right away. Like,
right. I think that the elevating our community and really changing the mentality, because Gladys is an accountant. She has experience with numbers, and me in experiential, like I have the experience in marketing and branding, and so I know the tools that these big companies are using, right? I know these tools. I know how they're working. And so why not leverage that for our own community, right? And I think that, this political climate that we're in has also light a fire under our ass, right? Because, hey, listen, we are not what you think we are. We're much better. We're much bigger. We're much more than what you're making us out to be. And so if there's anything positive that came out of this political climate, this political anything that we're in right now, is the fact that, like, no, we're going to show you that we're not, right? And also making sure that we stick together, regardless of where you're from, regardless of your, background, of your sexual preference, like, regardless of anything. First and foremost, our community is what needs to unite us. So yeah,
I agree. And one thing that I think bothers me is that the level of disrespect the establishment has in the Latino community. We have a lot of buying power. Do you guys see yourselves as the start of maybe being the first Latino owned version of like a Target or Walmart?
wow.
Only stocking your stores with Latino owned products?
I would say yes. In not that extent, but starting to. Oh, yes. Yes.
I mean, I haven't even.
I never know.
We've just been so busy that we haven't even thought that far out, right? But what a question, because I don't think that we weren't even ready to think that way, and we have thought about this from the very beginning, and this is what we tell every single business that comes through Molcajete Dominguero. If you don't think of yourself as a brand, as a big time brand, then go back to your 9 to 5, because you're wasting your time.
Right.
And from the very beginning, we said we're gonna be a big event. How long it takes us, I don't know, but we are going to be an event that people are gonna know about. And so, even from the very beginning, like, it's just always played out that way, no? But now that you're mentioning this, the way you're mentioning it, it's like, we could be. And you know what? There's a lot of people that have walked in through the doors, the Molcajete Dominguero La Tienda, who are wowed by the look and who have actually compared us to these big time retailers. And we're like, wow, that feels really good. So to answer your question, yes, we want to become a brand that is synonymous to the Latino community, and even from the music being played in our store, we've gotten compliments about the music. They're like, I love it because intro y está banda machos, and then all of a sudden then there's Caliuchis, and then there's La Santa Cecilia, and then you go back to, like, I feel like I'm at home. I feel like I'm at a party de mi casa. There's cumbias, there's salsa, there's merengue, there's a little bit of everything. There's even caballo dorado in there, right? And all of these things have been thought out. Like, it's not just like, a ver, hay que ponerlo a ver si pega. And the reason why we think about these things is, especially the music, is I remember walking into a coffee shop that was todos gringos, super hipsters, right? And then that day, the person that was managing the music put a Selena song. And I was like, holy shit. Like, where am I? Like, where am I? That felt so good. And I remember that feeling of, like, being in a space where, you're not expecting this, right?
Yeah.
but then all of a sudden there's something that you identify with, and I remember that feeling so vividly that I was like, when we have our store, we're gonna be playing music like this all the time. So when people are shopping, they're like, wait, because music is so sensory, right?
It is,
Yeah.
it is.
¿Te acuerdas de cosas? Like somebody was like, este merengue was my fiesta sorpresa, my baile sorpresa song for my 15 años. Like
Yeah.
that's what we want.
And it's good to see people just walking around shopping and dancing. They're just
Yeah.
dancing.
Yeah,
They're
exactly.
moving, they're singing, and they start. Even we had one of our customers show up with a listen to a Timbiriche song.
Yes.
They started dancing right there. I was like, whoa, wait a minute.
Exactly.
We have a dance floor now.
I know exactly what you're talking about. But I got a new iPhone. I have a whole lot more like data or memory on it, so I put all of my music. And so I grew up with Napster and LimeWire, so I downloaded
Oh my
all.
God, Napster.
You remember that?
I remember that.
Remember
So I downloaded all kinds of music, but not only that though. When I lived with when I moved back from college to my parents for a little bit, I got all of their CDs and I just burned them onto my CD drive. And the other day, I was sitting there and I hear Querida
Yeah.
from Juan Gabriel, and I'm just like, oh my God, I haven't heard this song in forever, and it just reminds me of like Saturday mornings when my mom would be playing that, and I would mock the song, right? But she'd be loving the song, but I would mock it, and it just brought back so many memories. So you're right, and as Latinos, we do feel, I guess, corporations don't hear us because they don't play the music that we were, I guess, brought up with.
Right.
And that, the feeling, because I'll never forget this when I heard this. People always remember how you make them feel. They don't remember what you say. So it's always that feeling, like, I remember that. So it's really good. It's smart, but at the same time, it's also very genuine, right? Like, because you had that experience. You remember being at a Starbucks and you hear Selena's. You're like, you know what? I'm going to create an atmosphere where people like me will feel that way at the store. So kudos to you. So I have another question
A ver.
from another vendor.
Apúntalos, va una.
A ver,
Ya
ya va
enseñas
una.
tiendita.
Vendors?
A ver, ¿quién más?
Vendors are the best. Okay, let's see. Where did she ask? Who was the other one? I think it was. Yeah, I forgot which vendor it was.
That's awesome that they send in questions.
So what I did,
Uh-huh.
and I think you will appreciate it. So I went into Instagram and I went under locate places.
Uh-huh.
I typed in Molcajete
Dominguero.
Dominguero. I have a problem saying that, so
No, you're good. You're good.
forgive me. And I went in there and just started telling them, like, hey, I'm going to be interviewing the founders. What questions do you want to ask? So I literally was doing that
is
for
so
like
cool.
That's cool.
like for an hour. Let's see what they say. I think it was Sweet Treat. It's by Liz.
Okay.
Oh no, actually no, it's K Day All Day.
K-Day all day.
She's not. She's not a vendor. She's actually a customer.
Oh.
K Lopez.
Okay.
She goes, how did you guys take that big of a leap and just start?
I think that this is a big ¿cómo se llama? Misinterpretation or a huge ¿cómo se les llama?
So they think we just started boom big.
Yeah.
No, we started small.
Yeah, we started very small, and I think that this is one of the biggest misunderstandings for people that want to start their own business. Everybody thinks you need to invest a lot of money, which some businesses you do, right? But I think you need to be creative and you need to really think outside of the box and think outside of like how things are typically done. Because we started this business with $50 from my pocket and $50 from her pocket. And everything kind of just started rolling and going, and so what made us decide to take that leap is the fact that we didn't have to spend so much money. Like that is, I think, what helped us really decide to like, okay, let's do it, right? And it was very manageable and whatnot. The moment we saw that Molcajete Dominguero is growing after that first year where we outgrew 4 different venues. Then at that point, I had told Gladys, hey, listen, we sat down and we're like, this is growing. And if 2 things are going to happen. If we continue this path right now, we are going to lose control of this, and it's gonna go to shit. And people are gonna be disappointed because we're not responding messages, we're not doing anything. Like, it's gonna fall apart. Or one of us has to be in here full time to really dedicate our time to this, but for 1 year. If after that 1 year this continues to grow the way it's growing, which it will, then both of us need to be here. And I said to Gladys, you know what, it's easier for me to take that leap right now because Gladys is a mom and she had health insurance for her kids and all these other things. So I said, I'll take the bullet right now, but the moment we start, you know, I think it's going to happen where we're going to start growing quicker, like, then I need you on board. And then we'll talk about that when we get there after the year. So it's just teaming up and finding that support and asking for support, because for us, you know, we don't, up until like 6 or 7 months ago, I didn't know her last name.
Literally did not know my last name.
We've known each other for as long as Molcajete has been. And people ask us, like, how did you guys meet? Or how long have you guys known each other? And we're like, we've known each other since Molcajete. That's it. And people get surprised about that. And what we like to say is, you need to learn to trust your community. And at the end of the day, I'm sure that there's things that I do that annoy her.
A lot of them.
There always is.
There always is. But you know what?
It goes both ways.
Yeah.
But we need to think about the business at that point, right? We need to think about the business, and we need to think about, like, okay, this is what we need to do, and we need to put our personal differences aside. And that's, I think, what has helped us propel forward.
Yeah.
Very nice. Now, you said you guys don't have a personal relationship. You guys you met each other when you guys started doing this.
Right.
Do you think that's an advantage or disadvantage in the success of the business?
I think both. I mean, I think it's an advantage. I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's up to you to make it whatever it is you want.
I'm kind of afraid to answer now.
No, I really do think it's up to you. It's up to you as an individual, because, like I said, there's things that I do that I'm sure she doesn't like, and there's things that she does that I don't like. But then we need to learn to set our differences aside.
I've actually had past business partnerships, and even now that I know him more and now that I consider him a friend, I would say that I would have still started business with him, because he has a really good mentality. He knows how to separate friendship from business when we have to, and I'm kind of the same way. I kind of do think the same way, and that's what really works with us. Is like, okay, right now it's business. Okay, now right now it's friendship. And either way, I think I would have done it as well. Okay. Yes, I think, and past
Yo no.
Sáquenlo.
I'm just kidding.
So I really like. I actually admire him a lot, because he is amazing. The way he speaks to people and talks to people, the way he expresses about the community, it's amazing. Something I will never be able to do, because I'm really bad at public speaking and all that stuff.
You're good.
But no, I think it's an advantage and disadvantage. I don't know. It's not a disadvantage at all. It's just an advantage, and I would have done it in any way. Knowing him now, I would have.
Okay. The reason why I asked that question is because I know a lot of times friends, either best friends decide to move in with each other, or decide to go in business with each other, and it just goes bad. So
it's very important to me to have the same goals, the same focus. Like I said, I've had previous partnerships with friends, and it didn't work out because they didn't have the ambition, or they didn't really want to grow. They didn't have the same vision. As long as you have the same vision and just ganas to, you know, do what you want to do, I think you'll be fine. No matter if it's just you just met the person or not, you just have to have the same ambition, or ¿cómo se dice esa palabra? Una palabra de que pues quieren, you know, we want to do the same thing, you know. I think you will be okay.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree as well, and I second what Gladys is saying. I've had businesses before in the past, and they all have failed. I filed for bankruptcy with like $180,000 at one point. And, I appreciate what you're saying about me. Muchas gracias.
Okay, dice que ya.
Pero at the same time, you have to learn to collaborate, because I could not have done this on my own. Like, there's no way. There's absolutely no way. And thank you for sharing that you admire me y todo esto, which you didn't have to say. But I appreciate that. And I also want you to know that, and I know that you know this, this would not have been an easy project, or it would not have gone as far as it has without you as well, because you bring a lot to the table. And I think that that's what people need to understand. People need to understand that you need to step away from your ego, and you need to really admit and really be okay with asking for help, because solos se puede, pero es muy difícil. And I think that that's where we both help each other out. Where one day I might be like, "Wait, estoy atorado con esto, I don't know what to do," and she will be like, "Okay, why don't we do this way?" And vice versa.
Yeah,
So
both ways.
Yeah, I think what you mentioned earlier, collaborating. A lot of Latinos in the past, I know when I was younger, they didn't really support each other.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It was kind of like, "Oh no, I want to get there first before you."
Right.
Like, for me now, I'm working only, I'm not going to say only, but I prefer to only work with people like me.
Mm-hmm.
Because we have to work together. Because if we don't work together, we're never going to move forward as a community. So that was super key in saying that, because like I said it earlier, I mean, if this really keeps going, and then we really focus as a community, and we only start to support other Latino owned businesses, products, if someone makes their own Coca-Cola, their own, cheese, their own bread, and only support, and we as a community only support that business, we have nothing really stopping us.
correct.
Right.
See?
I agree with that.
Mm-hmm. Me too.
So, this one is a little off topic for business. I'm a big food guy. What's your favorite street taco vendor?
Oh my god, I have too many. I just found one that I love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so I do have one, and I live in Santana.
Okay.
And one of my favorite food truck vendor is Mulitas Ruben, and they are on Main and First Street, right behind the Pep Boys. And so they make these amazing mulitas, and their tortillas are handmade, and I've been trying to get them to Molcajete, pero they're just too popular in Santana. They don't really need us.
Oh my god, I've had many. I just go to whatever taco stand I see in any corner. I just found one that I'm in love with. It's called Tacos al Carbon.
No way!
Yes.
Yes, are they on Montebello?
They're in Montebello.
They
and
used to
they're
be
a
in Pico.
They're in a tire shop at night from 5 to I think midnight. Their tacos are amazing, handmade, and they taste just like the TJ tacos. I'm in love. I'm not going to any other taco place. I've been trying to take them there, but we just haven't gotten around. But it's really good. So you've been?
I've been there. They used to be on Telegraph, in Pico. We used to go. My fiance and I used to go there every Friday after our gym workout.
Nice.
Oh, yeah.
for about
That works.
for about like, I want to say almost not the entire summer, but from like maybe from July to like September.
Wow.
Yeah, on a regular. There was one time. Oh man, I was so wrong. I got the time wrong.
Uh-huh.
I got off of work, and my fiance's like, "Oh, can you just stop by and get the tacos?" I'm like, "Okay." I thought they opened at 5, so I get there like at 4:50. I'm like, "Okay, I'm 10 minutes early." I'm like, "Where's everyone at?" I'm like, 5 o'clock comes. Like, don't they start at 5? And then like 5:10 comes and they roll up, and they're like, "Are you waiting for tacos?" I'm like, "Yeah." Don't you guys always start at 5? He goes, "No, it's 6 on Fridays." I'm like, "Oh man."
I wonder if that's the way it is here now.
You know what?
I don't know.
We used to have to wait at least 45 minutes for tacos, but when they have 2 guys cutting meat, it sped up the process to about maybe like 20 minutes.
I love the feel. You walk in there, they have the señoras over there doing the tortillas.
Yeah, the tortillas.
And then they have the aguas frescas guy over here. It's really nice. And I even like that it's inside of a tire shop. Well, it's like outside, and they're hidden. They're hidden, like they're not even exposed, but they're always full because they're so good.
Yeah.
Nice.
There used to be a good one here on Lorena and Whittier, inside the car wash, across the street from like the Arco. They're called TJ Tacos.
Oh, we gotta try that one.
They moved to 4th Street. Yeah, they
not
make
that
really,
far.
yeah, they make really good tacos de cabeza.
Oh, that sounds good.
Yeah.
I'm hungry already.
I know,
For
right?
lunch.
I know.
So, you had mentioned earlier that Gladys had a little bit more to lose, and you mentioned health insurance. I do health insurance. Health insurance is really expensive.
Very expensive.
Since now that you guys are full-time, I guess, entrepreneurs, how have you addressed that?
Nos vamos a Tijuana.
I mean, I have. Y obviamente, yo sé que, gozo de este privilegio, right? To be able to do that. But even when I worked in like these corporations where I was provided with health insurance, I would never go to the doctor here. I would always go to Tijuana and get fixed over there, like para todo. And the only thing that I wouldn't do in Mexico, just because I'm a little paranoid, is any type of surgery. But other than that, I always go to Mexico para los dientes, para los ojos, para everything, because I feel like, con una medicina de allá, con una inyección, like you're gonna get cured like within like minutes. Y aquí voy a ir a perder el tiempo al doctor, and they're gonna recommend Tylenol or something.
Yeah, that's what they do.
Yeah, so I never go to the doctor here, pero como te digo, I know that I have this huge advantage that I can cross the border, but that's what I do now for health insurance. Y pues, vapor rub y
alcohol con droga y marihuana.
Sí, todos los santos ahí también.
Caldo de pollo, caldo de
res, sí. What about you, Gladys?
Yeah, no, it's been now since actually February 1st that I don't have insurance. And I had an experience already because I twisted my foot. And it's been really bad. So I just went to a clinic in El Sereno. It's Santo Niño de Atocha, se llama, the clinic. And I mean, it's not the same. It's a little different, the process, because it's longer than going just into your regular doctor and getting everything done there and then. But I guess it's just a process that I'm going to have to get used to until we can get insurance, or you can get us an insurance. That's affordable.
I know, right?
I'd be glad to take care of you. One thing that you guys were mentioning throughout your process when you guys started throwing the events, it sounded like you guys didn't have any struggles, but if there were any struggles, I'm thinking that there was. You guys just didn't talk about them. What made you keep going forward?
There were struggles. I mean, Mina, I'm struggling talking right now. So I think that the first struggle we had was outgrowing the venue. Outgrowing the venue, and then going to different venues and starting to see like the different things that they would require, right? The requirements. But then one time we actually ended up in a venue that didn't tell us anything. That was like, yeah, we can do it. You can do it here, blah, blah, blah. And they're like, we even have a patio, so you guys can have vendors out in the patio area. And we're like, oh, perfect. We're going to be able to have more vendors. And then come the day of the event, and these guys were like, so you guys can't use the patio. And we're like, what are you talking about? We have like 20 vendors scheduled for the patio. We cannot fit inside. And so that was the first struggle. And I remember that one time we literally had to put money out of our own pockets to pay back these vendors, to pay back the vendors, right? Luckily, still then we weren't charging like what our regular fee now, but it still was a pretty penny. And then there was no AC inside of this warehouse.
And we weren't thinking about that because it was high ceilings. We're like, it's gonna be nice and ventilated. We're not gonna have to worry about it.
And they told us that we could have the roll-up, the giant roll-up doors open, and then we couldn't.
At the end.
And there was like only one entrance, one exit. So it was like literally that Molcajete Dominguero happened inside a sauna. Like it was horrible. People's things were like,
and which was amazing is that people still showed up and they were still hanging out inside, which was amazing.
yeah.
And I mean, all the vendors can't forget that experience.
No one can ever forget.
No.
Because whenever the OG vendors here, the new vendors say, "Oh, it's too hot." No, it isn't.
Nothing compared to what it was in the
Nothing.
sun.
Yeah, and even but that was like one of the biggest struggles, being able to find these locations, right? And then realizing that we were renting warehouses that were renting space to us, knowing what we were going to do, and then finding out that it's illegal to have events inside warehouses. And we're like, holy crap.
Yeah.
we didn't know that, and these people should have known. Maybe we should have done a little bit more research, but knowing that we had these events and it was literally an illegal event. And so I think we actually ended up not doing one Molcajete Dominguero one time because we're like, when we found out, we're like, we can't run that risk. Like, imagine somebody falls, imagine somebody something, imagine there's like I can't even like begin to think. Like, once we found that out, we're like, no. And then Gladys, through her connections, she was able to connect us with La Plaza de Cultura y Artes, and we met with them. We told them about the concept. They loved it, and they helped us out, and they took us in.
They believed in us, which is amazing.
Yeah, which is amazing because, believe it or not, even here in Los Angeles, we came to we called so many different venues. And at one point we're like, hi, my name is Luis Octavio, and we have this event called Molcajete Dominguero, and it's a Latino vendor, blah, 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 pop-up. We have over 80 vendors, and they would be like, oh, sorry, we're not, we're booked, or we're this,
or
or
at
that.
the beginning, no, the one that you said that they're like, oh, we're a pop-up. They're like, oh, great, yeah, we can do it. But then they're like, oh, no, we can't. Once we mention Latino, they're like, oh, yeah.
So then I started noticing that, right? That we were like putting our best foot forward, and we're like, Latino this, Latino that, and people would be like, no. And then I realized, you know what? I bet you I know what's happening, because this happened to me in corporate America, where over the phone I was Mr. Whatever, and then when they met me in person, they would literally walk by me and not think, that I was the person that they would be speaking to, right? And so I was like, I bet you anything that this is what's happening. So I called the venue and I said, hi, my name is Luis, and we're a pop-up. We have over 70 vendors. We have about 2 to 4,000 people showing up to the event, and we're looking for a venue. And they're like, oh my God, this is exactly what we look for this venue, blah, 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 blah. And then we would be like, okay, let's meet up, let's do a walkthrough. And then they would realize, I didn't ask what kind of vendors. And then they would call or email and say, what kind of vendors? And then we would let them know, and then they're like, oh, the place is booked. Or, oh, we actually, whatever bullshit excuse. Sometimes they were really even like, you know what, we rent the space for $25,000. And I would be like, oh, that's perfect, because that's actually, we currently pay $30,000. So you would be saving us some money. And then they'd be like, well, yeah, but we're actually booking it for like a film shoot or something, like some BS excuse. And we were like, dude, that's
sad.
It's so sad. It's so sad, because even here in LA, can you imagine when we go to like another place where there are as many Latinos as there are in LA? Like, what's going to happen then? So those were the biggest struggles, finding a location and finding a location that understood what we were doing. Because there were locations that were, as soon as they heard the word Latino, they would be like, you need 500 security guards.
Mm-hmm. Oh yeah.
And we'd be like,
Why?
like, what are you talking about? We don't even serve alcohol. Yeah, but these are the requirements of the venue. I'm like, that's bullshit. Those are not the requirements of the venue, right? And so those were the biggest struggles. And finally we got to a place where they understood us, they understood our community, they understood the concept. And from there we went from starting on the outside of La Plaza to now taking over the whole campus, outside and inside. And we've continued to grow. I mean, that location it's been growing. We now have a Michelada garden.
Michelada garden.
Yeah, we have a Michelada garden, and yeah, it's been amazing.
Wow. I mean, just hearing some of the excuses that people were giving you once they found out Latino, that really gets me going. Like, it's just, Oh, it's so frustrating.
Yeah.
So frustrating. Like I told you before, the amount of disrespect they give us. Everyone's money's green. And that's why I honestly can't wait to see you guys do very well and stick it to them. When you guys have your own big storefront. And you're like, no, we work together as a community, and look where we're at now. So
Yeah.
I'm definitely rooting for all of you.
Gracias.
Both of you, the vendors. And I mean, I know myself, I'm always going to root for myself, but all you guys are going to need health insurance. So eventually you guys are going to need it. But I mean, that's just because after 9/11 at the airport, like clockwork, always getting searched. And I'm like, I'm Latino. Oh, it doesn't matter. I got, harassed. Not harassed, but like, it's just, it's annoying, right? Like, you've just kind of, like, I've gotten, like, used to it. But, I don't think we should have to get used to it, right? We have to break through that stigma. There's a lot of that fear, right? And it's like you said, the political climate really made us be like, no, we're better than what we're being perceived as. So I'm glad that you guys are doing this because it's going to help us move the community forward in a very positive light. And I think once it gets to that level, I think it'll sustain. I think we'll be...
Absolutely. I think you're absolutely right. And one of our biggest accomplishments was this past year where, for us, our Latinidad is so important. And now being able to go into meetings because you're representing your own company, at least for me, and I know Gladys can attest to this, it's always been important to, no matter what meeting or who we're meeting with, I'm always going to wear my huaraches, and I'm always going to wear my jorongos, and I'm always going to wear my Latinidad on me. I'm not going to wear a suit for you. I'm not going to do that because I did that, and that's in the past, and now I represent myself. But furthermore, we Gladys and I are not the gatekeepers, right? We don't want to be the gatekeepers. What we do is we provide a platform, and that's it. Gladys has her own businesses that she runs. I have my own businesses and my own projects, and we try to make that separation, right? Not so long ago, somebody said, I'm not going to name names, but they wanted to work with us because they wanted to tap into the Latino community. And I said to them, okay, but why do you want to tap into the Latino community? And they gave me some bullshit excuse, and I knew where this conversation was going. And at one point I got really frustrated when they said, well, we're reaching out to you guys because you are a community leader. And I said, let me stop you there. I'm not a community leader, nor do I aspire to be a community leader, because I like to get shit-faced and I like to live my life. So I don't want you or anyone to put a label on me that I'm not looking for. And if people like who I am, even when I'm shit-faced or when I say groserías, which I do all the time, then bien. Y si no, también. Because at the end of the day, my parents taught me that if you're gonna help somebody out, you're gonna help them because they nace, and you're not expecting something in return. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what we do at Molcajete Dominguero. We try to give these amazing businesses the necessary tools that can help them propel their business forward without really expecting anything in return. Right. There's vendors that have said, when more events started popping up, they're like, we're loyal to you guys. We're not gonna be a part of their event. And we said, primero, you guys are stupid, because that is the stupidest thing to do. You guys should be at both events. And we would never tell you to just be with us, because that would be us messing with your money and your brand. You have to be at both events. And if both events happen on the same day, you find a way to have a table at our event and at their event, because that is how you're going to get your business to grow. That is how you're going to get more people to follow you. And I would be doing a disservice. We would be doing a disservice to you if we were like, no, stick to us. Mm-hmm. Even though some of these vendors have gone to companies or not companies, but events where didn't want to work with us at the beginning and didn't want to be a part of us, but now they're tapping into the Latino community, but that's a whole different topic. But I'm still not going to put them on blast, because you know what? If I put you on blast, that would be doing a disservice to our community, because our community needs this. So you figure out what you need to do. But that's basically, that has always been our motto, right?
Right.
To
And in
support each other.
reality, every decision that we make at Molcajete Dominguero we always put our vendors first and think, how is this gonna affect our vendors? Because we care for them. Without our vendors, we're nothing, you know. So we have to make sure that they're good, that they're all good, taken care of. So I think for us, well, for me, I'm sure for both of us, it's our priority just to make sure that we make a good environment for everybody to be in.
Awesome. Last question. We'll start with Gladys. What has been your favorite telenovela?
Telenovela? Oh my goodness. Oh my god. Mariela del Barrio.
Ooh.
Dang.
Mariela del Barrio. I loved it.
Yeah?
Yeah. And I love Thalia, so
Okay.
I've always wanted to be Thalia. No. And I am. No.
I mean, ahora eres Gladys, la del Molcajete. We'll make your own telenovela, don't worry. For me, my favorite telenovela, my favorite and the last one I saw was La Fea Más Bella with Angelica Vale. And I felt like I identified with that telenovela because I never felt like I was the best looking and the most popular, but I always felt like I feel like I have something to say. And to see a character on a telenovela that was like the ugly duckling and see that ugly duckling flourish and really be someone, like I really identified on so many levels with that telenovela. So, La Fea Más Bella.
La Fea Más Bella.
Sí.
Oh, y La Reina del Sur. La Reina del Sur. I'm thinking, wait a minute, that one I was more hooked on. But it was when I was younger, La María del Barrio when I was younger, and when I was older, and now La Reina del Sur.
I have two.
Which one?
They're old school.
¿Cuáles? A ver, ¿cuáles?
Muchachitas
Oh.
como ti, como yo, right?
I can't even see.
All right.
And
I
then
like
the second
Muchachitas.
one was Dos Mujeres, Un Camino.
Oh my
sí,
god, yeah. That's
sí.
true.
Yeah.
There's a lot of them now that
Ay,
you're
sí, es
bringing
que sí
them
son
up.
muchas, son muchas.
Yeah, those. I just really connected with what was it? The guy from Chips.
Erika
Eddie.
Estrada.
Yes. Like it was just me and my stepdad. We would just crack up at some of the stuff that he would do because he went from Chips to like novelas.
Yeah.
You know, so and the Muchachitas, it was just catchy. The little.
Yeah.
You know.
He went from chips to sabritas.
Exactly.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for giving me your time and sharing your guys' your story, your journey. I wish you nothing but success. I mean, I planned to attend the event that you guys had postponed because of the rain. Was kind of bummed out that I didn't get to go to it. But yeah, hopefully we can establish a relationship and we can work together
Claro.
in the
Yes,
future.
for sure.
Claro, muchas gracias.
Yes,
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Cool.
for coming here.